Have you ever witnessed a miracle unfold in the heart of the wild? It's a moment where the line between life and death blurs, and hope emerges from the most unexpected places. This is a tale of such a moment where courage and compassion collided with nature's raw power, forever changing the lives of both man and beast. The sun blazed down on the African savanna, scorching light flooding the dusty red road that cut through dry bushes and twisted trees. The wind whispered through brittle branches, and the crunch of sand was the only sound. Then suddenly, an unthinkable sight appeared on the path. A young rhino lay struggling on the ground, its wide eyes filled with desperation. Coiled tightly around its fragile body was a giant python, its muscular rings crushing like chains of steel. Each time the rhino tried to move, the snake only tightened, sending up clouds of dust as life was slowly squeezed away. Peace. In the distance, the rumble of a pickup truck echoed. A patrol vehicle stopped abruptly, and a ranger leaped out, his heart pounding at the horrific scene. His name was Daniel Carter, a man who had dedicated his life to protecting wildlife. In his hands was only a fire extinguisher from the truck can, unlikely tool in the wild, but now the only hope. "Hold on, little one. I won't let you die today," Daniel whispered, his voice shaking. Step by step, he approached. The python raised its head high, tongue flickering, eyes cold and merciless. Daniel gripped the extinguisher tightly, then squeezed the handle. A burst of white mist erupted, chilling the air, startling the snake into loosening its coils. At that instant, the rhino collapsed, gasping for breath, but its eyes glimmered with a faint spark of life. Daniel and his team rushed forward, using poles and ropes to pull the python away. After several tense minutes, the crushing grip finally broke. The massive snake slithered back into the dry grass, leaving its prey behind. Daniel knelt beside the young rhino, his hands trembling as he stroked its rough skin. "You're safe now, little one. Safe," he murmured. He called for backup, and soon a rescue team arrived to transport the rhino to the wildlife medical station. That day, Daniel didn't just save a life, he protected the future, because that small, fragile rhino carried within it the hope of a species on the brink. As the rescue team worked tirelessly to stabilize the young rhino, Daniel couldn't help but reflect on the gravity of what had just transpired. This wasn't just another day on the job. It was a stark reminder of the delicate balance between life and death in the African wilderness. The image of the python's coils wrapped around the helpless rhino would be forever etched in his memory, a testament to the harsh realities of nature and the vital role rangers like him played in preserving it. The following weeks were a blur of anxious waiting and cautious optimism. Daniel visited the wildlife medical station daily, watching as veterinarians and caretakers nursed the young rhino back to health. Slowly but surely, the animal's strength returned, its wounds healed, leaving behind scars that told a story of survival against all odds. As the rhino recovered, Daniel found himself growing increasingly attached to the resilient creature. He named it Hope, a fitting moniker for an animal that had come so close to death only to emerge victorious. With each passing day, Hope's personality began to shine through curious, gentle, and surprisingly affectionate towards the humans who had saved its life. Months passed, and Hope continued to thrive. The decision was made to transfer the young rhino to a protected sanctuary, where it could roam freely while still receiving the care and monitoring it needed. On the day of the transfer, Daniel felt a mix of emotions: pride in how far Hope had come, sadness at saying goodbye, and a renewed sense of purpose in his work as a wildlife ranger. 1 year later, at the sanctuary, Daniel stood still, his eyes fixed on a young rhino running freely under the sun. It was the same rhino he had saved, now strong and spirited, a faint scar across its horn marking the battle of survival. When the animal spotted him, it ran closer and pressed its head gently against his side, as if it remembered. Tears welled in Daniel's eyes as he whispered, "You made it." In that moment, he knew every risk, every sacrifice had been worth it, because on that unforgiving red road, he had witnessed a miracle, a life returned, and an unbreakable bond between man and nature. As Daniel watched Hope frolic with other rhinos in the sanctuary, he couldn't help but marvel at the journey they had both undertaken. The scrawny, terrified creature he had rescued from the python's grip had transformed into a magnificent adult rhino. a living symbol of resilience and the power of conservation efforts. The sanctuary staff shared stories of Hope's progress over the past year, how the rhino had quickly adapted to its new environment, formed friendships with other rescued animals, and even played a role in educating visitors about the importance of wildlife protection. Hope had become more than just a survivor. It was now an ambassador for its species and a beacon of hope for conservationists around the world. Daniel's encounter with Hope that day reaffirmed his commitment to wildlife protection. He realized that every animal saved, every habitat preserved, and every poacher apprehended contributed to a larger mission safeguarding the delicate ecosystems that made the African savanna so unique and precious. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow across the sanctuary, Daniel prepared to leave. He took one last look at Hope, now peacefully grazing with its herd. The sight filled him with a sense of accomplishment and purpose that went beyond words. On the drive back to the ranger station, Daniel's mind wandered to the countless other animals still in need of protection. He thought of the challenges that lay ahead: habitat loss, climate change, human-wildlife conflict, and felt a renewed determination to face them head-on. That night, as he sat around a campfire with his fellow rangers, Daniel shared the story of Hope's rescue and remarkable recovery. His colleagues listened intently, their faces reflecting the same passion and dedication that had driven Daniel to act on that fateful day a year ago. As the flames flickered and danced, casting long shadows across the African night, the rangers exchanged their own tales of triumph and heartbreak in the field. Each story served as a reminder of why they had chosen this path to be guardians of the wild, protectors of the voiceless, and stewards of nature's most precious treasures. Daniel went to sleep that night with a heart full of gratitude and a mind brimming with possibilities. He knew that the road ahead would be challenging, filled with both victories and setbacks. But he also knew that as long as there were people willing to stand up for wildlife, to risk everything for the sake of preserving the natural world, there was hope. And sometimes hope was all it took to change the world. As the first light of dawn broke over the savannah, Daniel awoke with a renewed sense of purpose. He stepped out of his quarters, breathing in the crisp morning air, ready to face whatever challenges the day might bring. In the distance, he could hear the calls of wild animals greeting the new day, a symphony of life that he had dedicated his life to protecting. With each step he took towards his patrol vehicle, Daniel carried with him the memory of Hope and countless other animals he had encountered throughout his career. Their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs fueled his passion and strengthened his resolve. For Daniel Carter, and for rangers like him across the African continent, every day was an opportunity to make a difference, to tip the scales in favor of nature's most vulnerable creatures. And as he set out on his patrol, he knew that somewhere out there, Hope was roaming free, a living testament to the power of compassion, courage, and the unbreakable bond between humans and the wild world they strive to protect.